You are now entering Nyghtstorm Nation.
All I have to say is this.
Child abuse.
If you are one of those people
Divorce.
that have been put down all of your life,
Infidelity.
beat up and trapped in a pit of woe,
Depression.
it is time for you to stand up with the Nyghtstorm Nation, because we aren't going anywhere.
I'm YG Nyghtstorm, the man not afraid to be transparent as I help real people with real issues. And my co-host is my queen, my stunningly, perfectly pretty, gorgeous wife. Oh, come on, baby.
Ooh, your partner in crime, that would be. Good morning, ATL. This is Toby George Nyghtstorm, the woman not afraid to tell the truth about things as they really are. And this is Nyghtstorm Radio. Radio gone real because we are you.
Yeah, now Nyghtstorm Nation, if you're in the ATL, feel free to call in at 443-558-8699. And to all the Nyghtstorm Nation members around the country, call in at 1-866-923-2860. You can also find out more about us, the Nyghtstorms, at Nyghtstorm.com. That's NYGHTSTORM.com. And you can also listen to our show from the talk radio page of Nyghtstorm.com, and also on Love860.com, and right here on Love 860 AM, baby.
That's right, that's right. And all you smartphone owners out there, don't forget, you can go to your App Store, Google Play, wherever it is on your particular phone. Download iHeartRadio, Tunein Radio, and iRadionow. Go to the talk radio section.
Yes.
Find WAEC Love 860 AM. And we'll be with you everywhere you are, no matter where you are. Take us to the bathroom. We don't mind. We can all squeeze in there together.
Oh, my God, my queen. We ain't going to the bathroom with people.
We will go anywhere they're going, any way they're getting there, we're going to be right there with them.
That's going to be real interesting to have a 300-pound man in the bathroom with
They
him.
just have to scoot over some.
No,
Also, you can go on love860.com and look at the Watch Now, click Watch Now, and you can see us live right here in studio. Hi. You can see YG flex his muscles and enjoy us face to face as you listen to us talk to you about these issues that occur and happen and affect your life.
Yeah, and some people like to call into the show, but most are kind of uncomfortable talking about the issues that we talk about. So what they do, they email us and they Twitter us and Facebook us at Nyghtstorm Radio. NYGHTSTORM Radio at Nyghtstorm Radio. And they also send us letters through Nyghtstorm.com. So a lot going on in the world, baby.
Yes, it has been.
Yeah.
We had tragedy this morning.
Yeah.
They had traffic just backed up everywhere. We want to send our condolences to the family of the person that lost their life this morning on 285.
Yeah.
And also the people that were involved in that accident as far as on the other side who, hit that person, because it's traumatic.
What people don't know, here in Atlanta on 285, it's an 8-lane highway, four lanes going west, 4 lanes going east. And unfortunately, someone tried to cross over the expressway during rush hour traffic to try to cross over 8 lanes to get somewhere. And they didn't make it. But God bless the person's family. And everybody, both sides and everybody involved.
This is trauma this morning. But today we're going to also be talking about another, big issue in America. And it's, ever since the whole Michael Brown, everything that's been going on, we are having very tense race relations. And today we want to talk about how America can successfully be colorblind in our society.
Yeah, I honestly believe we can be a colorblind society successful and become more empowered. And of course, Nyghtstorm Nation, we always start the show with the Nyghtstorm letter, and it's and couples, and it's called How Can I Change My Mate? And a couple sends us 2 letters, one from each party describing the major gripe of the day that they have about their mate and why their significant other needs to change. And sweetheart, can I go ahead and start with the wife's letter?
Go ahead.
Okay, Nyghtstorm Nation, this is what the wife said. She says, "Dear Nyghtstorms, as a proud American, I am so sick of all of this race stuff. I grew up in middle America, and the only black people we saw were on TV. I don't have anything against blacks, but I just wonder why they have to always be criminals. No disrespect to you guys, because you are a credit to your race, and I will have you over for dinner anytime. But if the rest of your people were less aggressive and complied with the law more, I honestly feel like you guys would not be shot so often by the cops. I've never been pulled over or harassed by the police, and I just can't believe all the accusations against our boys in blue.
Very interesting perspective. That's an interesting perspective.
That's an interesting perspective.
Now let's hear from the husband. He says, my wife and I come from two different places. I grew up in Memphis, and I saw some stuff that I just could not turn away from. I saw a black guy pulled over by the police. He was sitting in his car, and an officer just walked up to his window and punched him in the face. The officer then pulled him out of the car and kept punching him. The poor guy never fought back against the officer. More officers arrived, and they took their turns kicking him while he was on the ground in cuffs. I don't know what happened, but it just didn't look right. My wife assumed that the black guy just had to be guilty of something. I love her, but we see the world very differently, and I highly doubt that they would have treated him that way if he were white.
Wow.
That's another very interesting perspective.
Okay, now let's deal with this letter. Okay, now from the wife's perspective.
Yes.
And let's just deal with the wife's perspective first. She says, of course, she's a proud American. Mm-hmm. Of course, there's nothing wrong with being a proud American. Nothing wrong with loving your country. And the only black people she's ever had any experience with were on TV. Mm-hmm. So she hasn't really had any actual in-person experience because I guess in the part of middle America there are no black people there. Right. So the only thing they know is what they see, the stereotypical stuff that they see on TV.
But it's hard to believe there's no black people. Maybe during the time she was growing up.
Yeah, maybe during the time she was growing up. There. Okay, but we all know how the stereotypical black person is on television. Okay, what's up, shawty? How you doing?
That's the spin.
I'm a thug. I'm a
G.
I'm a drug dealer. I pimp women.
But that's not all.
Come on, baby. Most of the stuff you see about folks that look like me, black dudes, man, we pimps.
I will say that for ratings,
works.
And the way that it is cut, and the way that it is edited, and the way that it is prodded. If you want this money, you're going to do it this way because they're not going to fix something that they feel isn't broken.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Then the media has a tendency to perpetuate the stereotype. Yeah, I will say that. However, there have come about starting, back when we were kids with the Cosby Show, with positive black images that have been shown over the decades. But unfortunately, you have the loudest ones getting the most attention.
And they are the minority in the group.
And they are the minority.
And 9 times out of 10, the majority of this country is not racist. Okay, the majority of white people, honestly, guys, are not racist. The majority of black people, honestly, guys, are not racist. It is the minorities, the fringe people on each side. They shout the loudest. They get the greatest attention. And it will make you think, if I was a foreigner visiting this country, I would think this country is about to implode on itself.
Exactly.
Okay, because of the way how it's perpetuated in the media, and it's got folks kind of stoking the flames of a race war. But let me get back to my point with the wife before we move on to the husband. Is that okay, baby?
Go ahead.
Okay.
I was just, I had a thought, but I'll hold my thought. I just keep thinking about it till you're done.
Okay, hold on to that thought, baby. Hold on to it. Okay, but also, when she said that, if we would just comply more to the cops, then we wouldn't get shot as much. And she automatically had the mentality that black people are guilty. Okay? Now, that is what she has seen. That is what her experience that she thinks has been. And this is the way she's been thinking all of her life, that, okay, black people are criminals, and that's just the way it is. And if I see them getting pulled over, they probably did something wrong. Or if I see somebody getting shot, they probably deserved it. We don't get the benefit of the doubt. And I would say, she did say she'll invite us over for dinner.
Yeah, because we're a credit to our race.
We're a credit to our race, man. I've heard that one a time or two.
the thought the thought I'm trying to hold on to
Right.
was you were saying in this country. I
Yes.
read an article
Uh-huh.
because I'm not allergic to social media.
No, you're not.
And I'm on Facebook.
Yes, you are.
And it was an article about how black people are treated in Japan.
Oh, Lord, I saw that.
And
Oh, Lord.
all they know is also what they have been exposed to. That's why I said the media spin.
Right.
You don't have many people living in Japan. A lot of us don't speak Japanese. But
I speak Japanese. At the risk of a lawsuit, I speak Japanese.
But I'm saying I don't
You want to hear my
know
Japanese?
the language. Yeah.
You want to hear my Japanese? Okay, Jared said, "Don't you do that, Japanese?" I know Japanese. I know.
No, this is news to me. What
You
do
want to hear the
know?
Japanese?
I'm just saying we don't speak the language.
I know.
That's not our
I
tongue.
know soy sauce very good. As media silence, I love messing with the queen. The queen's mouth is open. Jared's head has sunken down in the booth. He's like, "Oh my God, why did you do it?" I know also, because we talk about race, I know black too. I know collard greens, baby. Yes. And I know French too. I know French fries, even though French fries aren't really from France. That's an American thing.
Oh, Lord.
They call them fish and chips
Anyway,
in Britain.
my point
But
is-
I'm trying to get around this thing.
is
Yeah, man.
it's because of the media spin.
And because of
That-
stuff that I do
that-
too.
that-
What I just did.
Oh my goodness. The media spin and are seeing it's like put it like this: when we were little, the only thing we knew about Africa was dirt roads, huts,
And lions.
and lions and stuff like that. And it took me until I was an adult to see downtown Johannesburg and all this other stuff. Like, wow,
Well, that's-
they have
you had a-
skyscrapers and buildings.
Well,
and
you had a
all
good
this other
school.
stuff.
What they taught me is that everybody in Africa is about lions, tigers, and bears. Oh my.
And you know, in the huts and the spears and all that
But
other stuff.
bears are not in Africa.
Yeah, that's right. You see what I'm saying?
And I was taught that bears were in Africa, and that's all that's there. Lions and tigers and bears. Oh my, like the circus. And everything you saw in the circus was what the image was of Africa. That there was no buildings there.
There were no buildings.
There was
all
no
mud
cities.
huts and
It was
straw.
all mud huts. There was no cars there.
Exactly.
And they didn't even have an airport. So I'm like,
Exactly.
how did you all get there to make a documentary with National Geographic if they don't have an airport? Well, YG, they probably took some boats and they just sailed.
Or
there.
they rented a plane from America.
But if they ain't got no airports there, how the plane gonna land?
That's a good question.
Exactly. So it was just backwards.
But I'm just saying, and that the stereotype
The stereotype.
and
Like what
we're
I just did
exposed
with the
to.
soy sauce.
Well, you don't
Stereotype.
Yeah, exactly. You don't think Bright Lights Bit City.
Yeah.
When we were little.
Yeah.
We thought spears. People with enough cloth to cover their private areas. And sometimes not
I
even
used to
that way.
actually like watching those National Geographic videos
Why?
because the women would walk around.
Topless.
I wasn't gonna say it, but yeah. Okay.
And
I
that's
was
in
a
there.
kid. I was a teenager.
But the thing is, the whole point of a stereotype is if you choose to only show this perspective,
Right.
and you broadcast it all over the world,
Right.
that's all people are going to see and know.
Especially if they don't have any interaction. And then when they do get interaction, they automatically pull up that filter of, this is what I saw. Now, I also want to get into the husband. He says, no, he saw something. Now, he said, I don't know what had happened, but he saw a guy pulled over, and he saw a cop pull up, and the cop just walked up to him and punched him in his face and kept on hitting. And Nightstorm Nation knows we are very pro-police on this show. We are very pro-first responder, very pro-firefighter, very pro-police because of our charity, the Victor Sims Foundation. We actually help people become police officers and firefighters
and paramedics.
paramedics. So we are very, very, very pro-police on this show. But we're going to talk about what this dude saw. He said the cop jumped on him and was beating on him. Other cops showed up, beating on him, taking a turn, kicking him. Dude was on the ground in handcuffs, unarmed, and unable to defend himself. Now, he did say, I don't know what happened. Okay, and the wife immediately assumed that, well, he must be guilty or something. But what if he wasn't?
Exactly.
That's the thing, how come we can't have the benefit of the doubt? Okay, and as a brother driving around in a nice car, I be hoping to God that I don't get pulled over. Okay, and things happen to me, and people that don't know me or my character, they say, well, look at that big old 300-pound black guy. He's probably a drug dealer or something. He's probably did something wrong, and I haven't done anything wrong. Mm-hmm. And I didn't get the benefit of the doubt. And that's the personal aspect of this to me, you know. And I want to say this also because all police officers are not picking people and beating them up. Okay, especially simply because of race. Because we know a lot of police officers. We know people who are very, very good at their job, and they absolutely detest bad behavior from their fellow brothers and sisters behind the shield.
Right, exactly.
Absolutely detest it. And we don't know what had happened with this particular situation, but clearly the husband and wife are on different aspects of this issue. So, this is how the Night Storms are going to be able to help you. Anything you want to say about this before I put a bow on this, sweetheart?
No. That's the long and the short of it. Because, and I'll tell you why.
Tell me why, baby.
It's hard to, when you have people that have limited experience,
right,
and limited exposure to things,
right,
unless they come outside of the box, and want and think to themselves, it's got to be something more to it than this. It's got to be a reason why there are marches. It's got to be a reason why there's protests. It's got to be a reason why people are so passionate about the way they're feeling.
Right.
And unless they want to expand their minds and hear the other side, it's hard to convince people to think other than what they're doing. But today, we have the challenge to just throw in a little food for thought and see if we can just get you to look beyond what you've been exposed to and what you know to be your truth, because this is your truth. This is all you know. All I knew was African people lived in huts on mud roads, walked around with spears, and I was flabbergasted to see skyscrapers, bright lights,
technology,
you know, and wow. So maybe today we can do a little wow factor on that.
Okay, and my thing about it is this. Just like the old adage that closed mouths don't get fed, closed minds do not expand. Okay? If you have a closed mind, and I'm talking to the husband and the wife, because clearly we do not want this issue to rip your family apart. Okay? It's a little thing called empathy, not sympathy. Empathy for someone else. Because if you put yourself in someone else's shoes, it's real simple. If something negative was happening to you, and your loved one.
But it's not real until it's real.
It's not real until it's
happening.
real. But, sweetheart, sometimes if you put yourself in somebody else's shoes, and then you start to realize that there are injustices in this world, good things happen, bad things happen. But if you put yourself in somebody else's shoes, then most of the time you're able to start getting a glimpse as to what they're seeing. But 9 times out of 10, like you said, it ain't real until it's real. And the next time, because if you live long enough, something bad gonna happen to you. The next time something happens, and then it happens to you, and you're being hurt, and then you see somebody who obviously just don't care about you simply because of what you look like, then you start to realize how stupid and ignorant this is, and that we all need to be treated the same.
Exactly.
Now, if you commit
a
crime, something gonna happen to you. If you ain't commit no crime, you need some justice.
Right. Exactly. And it's sad that it takes a politician or a lawmaker to have this injustice happen to them before a law is changed. Otherwise, it's not their problem.
So basically, we need some politicians getting pulled over by the police and getting beat up. Which ain't gonna happen. But we gonna fix this. Now, Nyghtstorm Nation, we coming up on a break. Okay? And I'll tell you this. I have been enjoying this conversation with the Queen, but we have an incredible guest coming on to the show in the next segment, and he's a good buddy of mine, and he looked just like me. It's just that he's light-skinned and Caucasian, and, you know, he's just a little shorter than me, and his eyes are a different color than mine, and his cheekbones are a different color than mine. He got more hair than I do, but we look just alike, man. This is my brother, Todd Tibbetts. He's going to be coming up on the next segment, but you are listening to Nyghtstorm Radio on Love 860 AM WAEC, Atlanta's inspirational talk radio station. See you on the other end of the break. You ever been so depressed to where you want to hurt yourself,
because life has been unkind, unfair, and unforgivable. Folks done hurt you and thrown you away. Yeah, I know, because I was there too, until I read this book by NYGHTSTORM called All Action No Talk. This dude has been there, man. He understands us. He was homeless, abused as a child, abandoned by his dad, and even his oldest son passed away. I'm encouraged because if this dude can make it, so can I, and so can you. So check it out at Nyghtstorm.com, NYGHTSTORM, and know that you have the strength to change your life despite adversity, like him, like me, like you.
Hey, you, guy or gal that's listening, are you enjoying the Night Storms? Good! If you want the 411 on me, YG Nightstorm,
And me, Toby George Nightstorm, a.k.a. Lady Nightstorm, visit Nyghtstorm.com. That's NYGHTSTORM.com. Check out our informative blogs, videos, and see what Nightstorm Nation is doing to benefit the community. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook.
thanks again for listening to the Night Storms on Nyghtstorm Radio every Thursday at 11 a.m. to noon on Love 860 a.m. Atlanta's inspirational station. We are you.
Hi everyone, it's me, Lady Nightstorm, and have I got news for you. Want to know how to keep up with us and what we're doing in the community? It's easy. Just like us on Facebook, Nightstorm Radio. Follow us on Twitter at Nightstorm Radio and become part of the Nightstorm Nation mailing list at Nyghtstorm.com. That's NYGHTSTORM. Keep up with all our promotions, contests, and latest happenings. Nightstorm Radio. We are you.
You are now rocking with the Night Storms on Atlanta's inspirational station, Love 860 AM WAEC. Now back to the show.
Welcome back to
Yeah.
Nightstorm Radio.
Uh-huh.
Our topic today is how to help America be colorblind.
Yes.
And if you would like to call in and be a part of the conversation, you can reach us at 404-355-8699 right here in the ATL or 1-866-923-2860 anywhere else. Or you can do what most of us do is tweet us or Facebook us at Nightstorm Radio.
At Nightstorm Radio. And I think the Queen asked me a question during the break. She said, is soy sauce even Japanese? I said, I don't know. I'm just showing ignorance because that's what it is when you're prejudging folks. It's just straight ignorant. Okay, now let's get to this. We got a second Nightstorm letter.
Oh,
okay, because they've been raining in. Am I right, my Queen?
Yes, you are.
Okay, can I go on and read it, baby?
I see you watching that Twitter feed, too, just so you know.
So, and this says, Dear Night Storms, I am a 17-year-old young white male, and my adopted brother is black. We are the same age, live under the same roof, go to the same school, but we have very different experiences. Our parents try to keep us both encouraged, but our family is being ripped apart by the way he is being treated by some of our relatives, the cops, and police, and people in the community. I'll make this quick. We were both at a party smoking weed. Okay, smoking weed with the other kids. The cops raided the party and arrested all the black kids. They told all the white kids to call our parents so we can be picked up and go home. I know we were wrong to be smoking pot, but if we all were doing it, then how come we all didn't go to jail? This is not right. Ain't that something?
And that's from the perspective of a 17-year-old.
Yeah, this is a 17-year-old
so
young man.
So if a 17-year-old can see that something ain't right here, what's going on with the rest of the nation?
Yeah, well, you know, something is always good and refreshing that we know a whole lot and everything, but it's always awesome when we bring in other people. So, Jared, in my famous British accent, you love it. The Queen loves it.
The Queen's silent.
Our guests love it. Jared, if you can cue that music, please, so we can introduce our guest properly. Yeah! Nightstorm Nation, our distinguished guest is here. Take it away, my queen. Woo!
He's a longtime Georgia resident, has a BS in business with a minor in accounting from Berry College in Rome, Georgia. He's also a graduate of the Coverdale Leadership Institute and is active in numerous church, mission, civic, and business organizations.
As the visionary of Tibbetts Group and U.S. Telegration, he is a noted technology entrepreneur with over 27 years experience in energy, telecommunications, technology, and business management. So, ladies and gentlemen, please help us welcome to Nyghtstorm Radio, the man known as Mr. Energy himself, the incredible Todd Tibbetts. Yeah!
Welcome, Todd. Welcome.
Wow, that sounds a whole lot better than what I really did.
So how you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. I'm blessed. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Now, Todd, you've heard the letter, okay, that the 17-year-old young man has said. Okay, so first, we're going to get into that. But the first thing I want the Nyghtstorm Nation to know is, like I said, this is my brother. See, Toby, you didn't even know I had a light-skinned brother, did you?
I didn't.
You didn't know that?
And you're right. Y'all look so much
we
alike,
look exactly alike, man. But Todd,
and you know you could go to love860.com and hit the watch live so you can see just how much Todd looks like YG.
You know, I'm dark-skinned. He's light-skinned. I have almost no hair. He has a head full of hair.
You can't see that because you wear a hat today.
Exactly, because I'm hiding. I'm perpetrating. But anyway, Todd is a really, really good friend. And when we talk about mission trips, you just did a big-time mission over in Dominican Republic. So before we get into our letter, because our author of the letter wants to hear from you and us, but let's hear about the stuff that you've been doing in Dominican Republic to help that place out.
Absolutely. And I'm just a small part of what's going on in Dominican Republic.
Yes, sir.
And it's our church, Johns Creek Baptist Church.
Yes, sir.
And I just was asked to join the group for a clean water trip. Mm-hmm. And it was my second trip in to the Dominican Republic. Our family's 8th trip in to do mission work. But the Dominicans don't have clean water in over 80% of their country, so they need to build 400 of these water systems. 48 have been built. I think we built number 49, somewhere in that range.
Right.
And so we built a building, and supposedly, we built it in October, and supposedly water will be flowing out of that building to a community in the sugarcane fields area above La Romana.
Okay.
And most of the people that live, of the 20,000 that live in that sugarcane area, are not my color skin. They're your color skin, and they're a combination of Haitians and Dominicans, and there really is true slavery there, and girls are stolen and sold into sexual slavery. Boys, when they grow up, they are not paid money. They are given a place to live, and they work for the place they live, and they're given food. So there really is real slavery in the Dominicans. So, but the purpose of our trip is clean water to help people who don't have clean water, because they end up with worms and typhoid and things like that.
Yeah, because of all the dirty water that they're bathing in and drinking in.
Yeah. So the church we're a member of, Johns Creek Baptist Church, we're slated to do another trip in there. But the Good Samaritan Hospital is doing a fantastic job trying to get these 400 water systems built down there, and it'll take care of 70 to 80% of their water problems of the drinking water problems, only drinking water problems. But
that's still an incredible number, 70 to 80% of the drinking water problems, sweetheart.
Exactly. It is. I mean, I've seen them, like we said, going back to the media, on TV, and you see them in these lakes and these rivers with the mud and everything, and that's why they say we take for granted the stuff that we have here in the States. So, but I want to get back to the letter. I want us to focus on the letter from this young man.
Yeah.
And we're not going to say that all cops are bad.
No,
we're not going to say that
they're pro-cop on
they're
this show.
racist.
We love
not
cops.
all of them are racist, but because, we do want to look, however, at the issue and how it played out and what's going on around the country. So how do we take a look at this and say, Todd, you're right, we're black. we're united in this room. We got our beautiful Jared sitting here, and how do we bring this unity together?
Especially dealing with this letter of what this
what happened and what they're seeing, and how this particular group of police officers handled the situation.
When you hear it, how does it affect you? What do you see?
I'm thinking that 95% of the actions of police officers they're really focused on what they're doing and doing a good job to protect the community. Mm-hmm. And I think every once in a while we have a bad apple that has something something in there that clicks where they don't take the right action. So I think there's a lot of really, really good police officers out there that are black and white. Mm-hmm. In fact, there's been some many instances in the news now, because it seems like everything's reported now, which is good. Mm-hmm. Which is good. So this action sounds like an action that's from the 70s, 60s or 70s, not from 2015.
Exactly.
In 2015, I would like to hope that when a policeman takes an action, and I think 95% of the time when a policeman takes an action in 2015, it is a genuine action. We've seen a couple things, and we could bring that up later in the show. What happened to you?
Oh yeah,
with a policeman up in Forsyth County.
Yeah, all
right, after a football game. But so every once in a while, because they have a tough job, and they have I wouldn't want to be a policeman because of how tough the job is and how low the pay is.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. So it's a very tough job and their lives are on the line. Mm-hmm. We hear of many situations where they lose their lives trying to protect us.
All the time.
So they wear a uniform. And so I think that we should have respect for them, but I also think that the people who are in leadership over the police departments hold them accountable for justified situations of taking care of a situation like this. Like, first, this policeman should have either arrested all of them or given all of them
an opportunity to call their parents.
So it just shouldn't be whether their skin color's black or their skin color's white. It should be the same treatment. And so, I feel like that we need people. If somebody does something wrong, there needs to be something that steers them to not do that wrong thing again. We have to have a consequence to things.
You got to have consequences, and you got to have accountability. And since Todd brought up my incident, I'll go ahead and talk about it. And I think we've talked about this at one point on Nightstorm Radio. But since Todd is here, okay, and Nyghtstorm Nation, if you didn't catch that episode, shame on you, man. But if you didn't hear it, this was the gist, okay? Todd and I were at my son's football game, and my ex-wife was there. Man, me and my ex-wife actually do get along, man.
Right. And from what I understand, the referees weren't making the greatest of calls.
Oh, man, the referees. Todd was there. The referees was blowing the calls. I felt like it was like Bill Belichick out there against our team. I'm sorry, I had to bring it up because Bill Belichick is in the news again for cheating. But the referees just made everybody mad. Our team lost at home against a rival, and the rival's kids was talking bad against our kids. They even flowed out into the parking lot, and I was mad. Parents were mad. I had words to say with the referees. Got out
and the referees weren't the best sportsmen about it either.
The referees, they suck. But anyway,
I mean in your conversation with the
referees, they just had no accountability for what they did. Anyway, now getting to the gist of it, we're out here in the parking lot. Okay, and my ex-wife is there, and our son was going to her house for the weekend. So I'm pulling out his stuff out the trunk, out of my car.
Talking about the football
game to my ex-wife, who was also upset. So I'm putting all his suitcases and stuff in her car. And whoop, whoop, Forsyth County pulls up, okay? And he immediately, young officer, jumps out of the car, and he saw me as a threat. And
Because you were?
Because I am such a large, colorful person.
And you were gesturing.
And I was gesturing
upset.
because I was upset. All the thing he saw was a big old 300-pound dude upset. So anyway, he goes over to my ex-wife. He tells me to be quiet. Okay, he goes over to my ex-wife and he says, "Ma'am, is he hurting you?" And I'm like, "What?" Are you kidding me?
She doesn't have on the striped shirt with the uniform
I
for
wasn't
the
going after her.
referees.
I was going after the referees. But anyway, he said, ma'am, is he hurting you? She said, no, he's simply putting my son's bags into my car. Are you sure he's not hurting you? And I said, officer, I'm right here. I'm not hurting her. I'm telling her what happened. He said, shut up. And I'm like, okay, here we go. So, and he tells me to back up. And so I'm backing up, and I'm obviously already heated from the referees. Now this dude pulling up and starting this. So I'm upset. And he continues to ask my ex-wife, ma'am, are you certain he is not a threat to you? And I said, I'm not a threat. He said, I'm not talking to you. Shut up. Okay, so now I'm upset. And I feel in my heart that I just got profiled. Okay, obviously I'm black and I'm threatening my poor ex-wife by unloading some stuff from my son into her truck. I'm a threat. So anyway, I talked to the officer. I said, look, man, this is my ex-wife. He said, I wasn't talking to you. I told you to shut up and back up. And he started reaching towards his pistol. Okay, so I'm upset. He eventually drives away. And then there was another police officer that's there. And Todd shows up. Okay. And Todd is like, you need to calm down.
Let me jump in.
Yeah, go. I mean, go ahead, Todd. You finish from there.
It looked like to me that YG was profiled. And I saw it. And I saw it happen. And so what I went over to talk to him because he and I had a conversation about the officials.
Yeah.
And it was a heated discussion.
Yeah.
We were both not agreeing with many of the things the officials did that night. We lost that game. It was a close game.
Yeah.
And short story is that YG was profiled that night. And what I wanted to do was get another policeman that was nearby to calm the whole situation down. So I walked over to another police car that was sitting nearby, and I made a couple of comments to him to try to calm it down. And I told YG, look, this is Forsyth County.
Yeah.
And because this is Forsyth County, the best thing to do is to just relax and let it go.
Yeah.
I remember that. I kept saying, you got to let it go.
Yeah.
And so I said that probably about 8 times. And
It
so
may have been 10.
I was trying to calm him down.
Because he was on 10 by then.
But I don't blame him for being upset because I saw it happen.
Exactly.
I saw it happen. And so my daughter's boyfriend saw the whole thing unfold and made some comments to me, the positive comments to me the following day as well. So, but the short story, too, of the whole incident is the guy came back.
Yes.
The policeman came back, and there was unity
Right.
that came from the situation.
Now, let me tell that part.
And I'll jump out now.
Let me tell that part.
Yes,
because of the fact that I know a lot of the officers up there, because like I said, we are very, very pro-police, very, very involved in the community, and those officers are like, YG, what just happened? We hearing about you all on the radio, so that's why we here. I said, well, this happened. So they said, hold on. Once again, calm down, just like Todd said. We're going to call him back. And Nyghtstorm Nation, the officer came back. He apologized to me. He said, all I saw, honestly, was a huge man, angry and upset, and I did not know what the situation was. I apologize, sir. And then I apologized. I said, because all you see is a huge 300-pound man upset, and you wanted to assess the situation. I would appreciate it if you did it differently, but you don't know because you want to go home to your family tonight. You don't want to get killed. So we came to a conclusion, and by the time it was all said and done, me and that officer had a kumbaya moment. We hugged and we were unified. We traded numbers and we said we're going to work to increase the awareness of togetherness with police and citizens in the community as well as black and white. And that's why my brother Todd is up here, because that's what we doing. Am I right, my queen?
You are absolutely right, but a lot of times it doesn't go that well.
It don't.
But you are, the fact that you are always up at the football game, always at the practices. You had a rapport already with the other officers who knew who you were and were able to say, hey, man, he ain't like this. Yeah. But that doesn't always happen for everyone. It's more of put the cuffs on and get in the back seat if you're lucky enough to make it that far.
Yeah.
So we're going to break.
We're going to break,
and when we come back from break, we're going to talk more about how we can be colorblind in America and how we can just see the person. We just celebrated Dr. Martin Luther King's birthday this past Monday, and the biggest thing he said is the content of my character as opposed to the color of my skin. Yes. We're going to discuss that more. Come back with us, Nightstorm Nation. Love 860 AM Nightstorm Radio. We'll be right back.
Toby George Nightstorm, aka Lady Nightstorm, and I'm known as the woman not afraid to tell the truth about how things really are. And the truth I have to say to you is you should listen to Nightstorm Radio every Thursday from 11 to noon. And you should also like us on Facebook at Nightstorm Radio. Follow us on Twitter at Nightstorm Radio. And join the Nyghtstorm Nation mailing list on Nyghtstorm.com. That's NYGHTSTORM.com. Nightstorm Radio on Love 860 AM WAEC, Atlanta's inspirational talk radio station. We are you.
To all event planners, are you worried that your next corporate get-together is going to be boring?
Then invite the Nyghtstorms to speak at your next event and electrify your organization as we break down how to grow your business, fix broken relationships, and conquer life challenges.
So make your next event epic. Invite me and the Queen to rock the house with inspirational techniques designed to empower individuals and maximize their true potential.
And thanks for listening to Nightstorm Radio on Love 860 AM WAEC, Atlanta's inspirational station.
We are you. This is YG Nightstorm. And why should you listen to Nightstorm Radio? Because we relate to you or someone you know with topics taken directly from our lives. Every time you tune in, you'll hear a discussion about real subjects that affect real life. Why? Because me and the Queen have been there. So join us right here every Thursday morning from 11 to noon on Love 860 AM WAEC, Atlanta's inspirational talk radio station. Nightstorm Radio. We are you.
Hello, Nightstorm Nation. This is Toby George Nightstorm, aka Lady Nightstorm, and I have a question for you. How much are you spending each day on lunch? $6, $7, $10 even? Do you know that for less than what you spend each week on lunch, you can advertise your business or service right here doing the show on Nightstorm Radio? Why don't you inbox us on Facebook, send us a message on Twitter, or drop us a line at Nyghtstorm.com. Let us show you how you can get your business or service out in front of the people. Now back to the show.
We are back on Nightstorm Radio, and our topic today is how America can successfully be a colorblind society with the incredible Todd Tibbetts. Now, we have been having a very, very, very interesting conversation.
Yes,
and Todd and I talked about when I was unfortunately profiled, but the situation rectified itself when the police officer came back and showed a lot of moxie when he apologized. I apologized, and we both parted ways in a respectful manner. But we got another pop-up letter here, okay? And my Queen, can I go ahead and read this?
Go ahead.
And Todd, are you ready for this letter? Okay, it says this. Dear Nightstorms, I think it's cool that Mr. Tibbetts is on today, and he is a real inspiration and gives me hope that some white people are opening their eyes to what's going on and speaking up. But as a black man, I have to all of our racist people as well. I go to an African Methodist Episcopal church, and all I hear every Sunday is how evil white people are. They are the devil, and Jesus wants an all-black planet. It's the same message that has been preached to whites for centuries, except blacks are the bad guy. How can so many people claim to love Jesus and have hate and hate everybody that Christ loves? I'm just saying. Now, that is a deep letter. And that is a very, very good question. And thank you for your letter, sir, because, we're a faith-based show. Okay, we don't throw our religion in people's face, but when people ask us, where do we get our power structure? We always say, we get our power structure from Christ. Okay, and a lot of folks in churches. Black, white, Jew, Gentile, don't matter. But a lot of people, they say Sunday is the most segregated day of the week. And if everybody, all these Christians believe in one God, one Christ, why in the world do these siblings hate each other so much when our oldest sibling, Christ, is telling us to love each other, but yet we say we're Christians and we follow Christ? But ain't a whole lot of following going on when it's talking about unity and treating each other the way Christ would treat us. So Todd got some good stuff. And I want to ask you this, brother, because you're very, very deep in Scripture. And Todd and I speak at the Atlanta Union Mission Homeless Shelter all the time, and we bring the message of hope, unity, and Christ to a bunch of people who may have lost hope. But Todd knows this very well. So, sir, what kind of scriptures you got to help us Christians, Christian brothers and sisters, some a little bit darker, some a little bit lighter? How can we get this together, brother? Okay,
so I'm bringing out what I talked about at the Atlanta Union Mission on the November in November and December. And unity is, we were talking about unity and what unity means and how we're not separate. If we're united, we're not separate. And what the media does, how they create a hype of non-unity. And it's, you and I have talked about this. On the right, there are television stations and radio stations that create non-unity. There, on the left, there are television stations and radio stations that create non-unity. And they get the black versus white. They get Jews versus Muslims. I mean, they can really get going on Christians versus agnostics, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Even men versus women. So what we talked about that night is the scripture in 1 Peter 3:8, where it says, "Finally, all of you have unity of mind, sympathy, brotherly love, a tender heart, and a humble mind." And that's 1 Peter 3:8.
Wait a minute. Can you read that scripture one more time?
"Finally, all of you have unity of mind, sympathy, brotherly love, a tender heart, and a humble mind." And so what does that mean? And when I journal, and this is coming out of my journal and what we talked about, so God wants us to have for each other, whether we're black or white, Jews or Gentiles, a unity of mind for each other.
Right.
And that's unity. That is a good definition of unity and how we can start trying to address this problem we have in our country, and a sympathy for each other, and a brotherly love for each other. And that's a big brotherly love. I mean, you and I have, over the last 2 years, as we've been going to the mission, I know you'd help me out and I'd help you out in a brotherly love way. And then another is a tender heart for each other. That's all coming out of that one scripture. And a humble mind for each other, humility. So, and then we were just talking about, too, at the break, a story where Jesus told, and I won't turn this into a church program, but there's a great story in the Bible of a lawyer who comes up to Jesus, and he asked a question after Jesus had made some statements, and the lawyer said, "And who is my neighbor?" And this is the Good Samaritan parable, right? And I won't get into that part, but what Jesus goes on, and he explains who a neighbor is. He says a neighbor is somebody who has compassion for the other person. So if we could all have compassion for each other and define that as our neighbor, and compassion, to dive a little deeper, it means mercy. And mercy means kindness and helping each other out, and forbearance and leniency with each other, and forgiveness for each other. So I'm just pulling all that out from a couple little things I was looking at this morning that really stuck out, that said, wow, if we could take a look at that Good Samaritan and what he did for that guy on the side of the road, when actually they used the parable was a priest walked by, and then another priest walked by and just left him there. But a Good Samaritan walked by, and he took care of him. and he had compassion for him. So if we could somehow find a way to get, and I think to drive in just a little bit more into the, all right, so I think 90% of the people in our country have compassion for each other. Mm-hmm. I think the media, the right and the left, they sell newspapers and they sell media commercials and everything else, and they drive this competition, and they create a lot of this, and we know, and I don't want to say names and all that get into all that sort of stuff today, but and I'll stop right there. I think we've got to find a way to tell the media. You said something about shutting up. The 90% of the people that want to have compassion for each other, we need to tell that 10% to shut up.
Exactly. And you know something, and I'm so happy that I wanted to make sure you had the time to break that particular parable down and that scripture down. And sweetheart, you know, what did that mean to you? Because I know what it means to me, and I'm going to say that, but real quickly, baby, what did that mean to you when he broke that down, especially referring to our letter here?
Well, you know, before we went to break, I referenced, you know, the fact that we just celebrated Martin Luther King. It's more than just the day that the bank is closed and kids get to stay out of school. Yeah. It's about the message that he was saying and how he wanted us, you know, the black little kids and white little kids to hold hands and everybody to say free at last. And we are so far away from that. And, you know, it's hard not to judge, even though the Bible said, judge ye not, yet ye be judged. And, you know, we are not perfect. And we see things every day. And we can, I'm sure it's people sitting there listening to us right now that are like, you know, I could have had compassion for someone that I might have went off on, or I could have thought a little more, I did a little more. Right. And it's just, if we just take the moment to think, if I was saying to, or someone was saying to me, or behaving towards me the way that I'm behaving or speaking to this person right now, how would that be to me? How would that affect my life and what's going on? You don't know me. That's the biggest thing. You don't know me. You don't know where I come from. You don't know what I've been through. We need to take the time to learn who we're dealing with and not react so fast.
Okay, and I think you hit a point also, but I want to close out with saying this. I love that scripture that you talked about, okay? And I want to also say this because Todd just showed me something else. It says, let no man pull you low enough to hate him, okay? And the basis of what we're saying here, especially dealing with our letter that just happened and what Todd just brilliantly broke down, is that when you have compassion and empathy and mercy for your fellow person, and this is bigger than just a Christian thing. This is a people, this is a human thing. When you're able to see yourself in someone else, or you're able to say, how would I feel if this is happening? Or you're able to show some mercy to someone else. And we're not saying you have to change everything about yourself because nobody's perfect. We all fall down. We all fall short. But if you take the time out for at least one person per week, start off with one person per week, show some compassion and show some mercy, it will start to have a ripple effect in this community. And it will change things, and it will start unifying things. And then you get comfortable with doing just compassion and mercy for one person a week, and then you change it to one person per day. Because I know people tick you off because of their differences or whatever. But you got to stay prayed up. But one person a day, and it will have a ripple effect. And start to see yourself as this person, because we are, especially the Christians, according to this letter, we state that we are brothers and sisters in Christ. Then let's be brothers and sisters in Christ. Let the majority speak louder than the minority, and these minority of haters on both sides, these bigots, these racists, these sexist, these chauvinists, these people who hate America, these people who hate people, who hate anything. That's right. Tell them to shut up. And you know something, but
and the biggest way you can do that.
And the biggest way to do that, because we've come to a portion of our show where we talk about a word that can overcome an ocean of negativity and fears and bitterness. And that word is love. And we've come to the love shout out portion of our show, where the Nyghtstorm Nation gets to send us their love shout outs and ask us to read them and talk about their special little sweetie pies. But we got a different little twist on the love shout outs today, don't we, sweetheart?
Yes, we do. Nyghtstorm Nation. We're going to shout out our guest today.
Yes.
We're going to shout out Todd. Todd is the man, and I want him to keep talking and changing the world. Thank you for your honesty and keeping YG from breaking the cop's neck that night. He's had to say it 8 times to get through.
All right, so I'm looking at this that says love. Can I make one comment about Martin Luther King?
Real quickly.
All right, so Martin Luther King, I've read, he said some great things, numerous great things, but here's something he said. He said, and it ties right to what you just said, he said, man must evolve for all human conflict, a method which rejects revenge, aggression, and retaliation. The foundation of such a method is love.
There you
and
go.
That's Martin Luther King. And for hate, he said, like an unchecked cancer, hate corrodes the personality and eats away its vital unity. Hate destroys a man's sense of values and his objectivity. It causes him to describe the beautiful as ugly and the ugly as beautiful, and to confuse the true with the false and the false with the true.
Amen to that. Now, Todd, that was powerful. Do you have any love shout outs you want to send out to anybody special, sir?
You know what, look, YG, honestly, and I've told you this, I love you, and I love your family, and I pray for you and your family.
Thank you,
You
sir.
guys have great kids. You've done some good, we all as parents have done good things and bad things, but
Yes,
you
sir.
guys are steering these guys down the right direction. And as I watch that happen, I just want to tell you I love you, and I'm pulling for you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
right.
Thank you, my queen.
And my love, thank you, Todd. I love you for being here and sharing your wisdom and your knowledge with us in Nyghtstorm Nation. YG,
Yes.
stay out of trouble.
Yes, ma'am.
I love you. I want you home every night
Yes.
and every day.
And I love you also, my queen. Thank you for being the love of my life and helping me with our children and being an awesome, awesome woman of purpose. Thank you, my brother, for also keeping me from going to jail and also being and being there with me as we try to help folks at the Atlanta Union Mission and help change this world and bring this country together.
So we want to thank all Nyghtstorm Nation members who wrote in to the show today. We also want to thank Todd Tibbetts for showing us how America truly be colorblind. And be sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Nyghtstorm Radio, and join us on Nyghtstorm.com for all the 411 and all the work we do in our community. And we end this with our pledge.
Well, we stepped out of darkness, brought people together, and we love each other. And I love me, I love you, and we love each other because we are Nyghtstorm Nation. And
Nyghtstorm Nation, and we
are you. Have a good one. God bless you. Have a great week. See you next week.